U.S. stocks. Wall Street slides on global slowdown fears for a Reuters live blog on U.S., UK and European stock markets. Click Live, or type Live, in a news window. Wall Street's fear gauge at its highest since mid-March. Twitter up after sources say it's set to accept Musk's offer. Beijing seen at risk of lockdown. Cyclicals lead declines. Indexes off. Dow 1.23%. S&P 1.33%. Nasdaq 0.82%. Updates prices to open. Adds details by Bhansari Mayor Kamdar and Devik Jain. April 25. Reuters. U.S. stock indexes fell on Monday, extending a sharp sell-off from last week as fears over China's COVID-19 outbreak spooked investors already worried about faster U.S. interest rate hikes denting economic growth. The worries reverberated across world markets, with Chinese shares marking their biggest slump since a pandemic-led selling in February 2020 and European stocks falling to their lowest in over a month on fears of strict restrictions in China. MKTS, Glob. All the major S&P sectors fell, with energy stocks SPNY tumbling 4.1% as Brent crude prices LCOC 1 dropped almost 5% toward $100 a barrel. Other economy-sensitive sectors such as materials SPLRCM, financials SPSY and industrials SPLRCI also took a hit, falling close to 2%. China lockdowns are getting worse. It slows general economic growth and also creates supply chain issues that will continue to make inflation bad and lower earnings growth in the United States, said Christopher Grisanti, chief equity strategist at My Capital Management in New York. I don't think we've seen the bottom yet. We haven't had that big sell-off yet where we have huge volumes. The CBOE Volatility Index, VIX, known as Wall Street's fear gauge, hit its highest level since mid-March at 30.1 points. Investors were also on edge at the start of a week that will see megacap companies like Google parent Alphabet Inc. Google, Microsoft Corp. MSFT, Amazon.com Inc. AMZN and Apple Inc. AAPL publish quarterly results. Bleak results from pandemic darling Netflix NFLX along with surging bond yields pummeled high-growth stocks last week, bringing year-to-date losses in the tech-heavy Nasdaq IXIC to 18.4%. Meanwhile, the benchmark S&P 500 SPX is down 11.1% so far this year. Traders are pricing in big moves by the Federal Reserve this year to control inflation after a series of hawkish remarks from policymakers. Fed Chair Jerome Powell last week gave a go sign to a half-point rate hike in May and signaled he would be open to front-end loading the U.S. central bank's retreat from super easy monetary policy. NL2N2WK1MC money markets expect the Fed to raise interest rates by a half point at the central bank's next two meetings. IRPR at 10:03 a.m. Eastern Time, the Dow Jones Industrial Average DJI was down 415.23 points, or 1.23%, at 33,396.17. The S&P 500 SPX was down 56.93 points, or 1.33%, at 4,214.85, and the Nasdaq Composite IXIC was down 104.93 points, or 0.82%, at 12,734.36. Coca-Cola County Co. inched 0.6% higher after it beat quarterly revenue and profit expectations, helped by strong prices and a rebound in demand for its sodas at theaters and restaurants. NL3N2WN22K. Nearly a third of S&P 500 index firms are due to report this week. Of the 99 companies in the S&P 500 that posted earnings as of Friday, 77.8% reported above analysts' expectations, according to Refinitiv data. In M&A news, Twitter Inc. TWTR rose 3.8% after sources told Reuters it was set to accept Tesla Inc. TSLA chief Elon Musk's best and final offer of $54.20 per share in cash. NL2N2WM0BG Silicon Motion Technology Corp. SIMO jumped 7.7% after a report said the chipmaker is exploring a sale. NL3N2WN23X declining issues outnumbered advancers for a 4.25 to 1 ratio on the NYSE and a 2.03 to 1 ratio on the Nasdaq. The S&P index recorded one new 52-week high and 47 new lows, while the Nasdaq recorded 16 new highs and 343 new lows.